I'm going to take a look at this blog post from the CEO of Signal and kind of explain to you guys. There's a lot of between the lines on this, which makes it a really interesting post, but it might make it difficult to understand based upon your background. So I wanted to kind of explain what the CEO is meaning in a lot of these things. First, let's start with the players here. Signal. So Signal makes a secure messaging app. I think it's the one that Edward Snowden says he uses. But basically, your data is encrypted as you send it back and forth. It should be encrypted when it's stored on the phone. As opposed to say, if I'm sending people messages with, a standard messaging app, if a police officer gets into my phone, they should be able to read what I sent, see the pictures. Potentially, if I'm sending data over an unsecured network, they might be able to see it go back and forth. Signal says, no, with our stuff, everything is secure. That's their bit. Cellibrite is a tool for law enforcement to take your phone, mobile devices, and capture data from them. So, you get arrested, they take your phone, it's unlocked, they plug it into this device, and then they look at what you had on there to see if there's evidence of crimes or whatnot, right? That's the two companies. So the CEO of Signal starts off with taking a shot at Cellibrite here, right? Saying how their technology is used by hunters in Russia and China. True, but a little unfair. Signal is also used for all kinds of nefarious purposes, as is any technology, But they announced that they added Signal support to their software, which apparently made Signal very unhappy. They don't want to be known as something where a product that can have their data extracted. And that's they keep taking shots here, calling it's linked to persecution of imprisoned journalists around the world. And then they kind of explain how their devices work. And he's saying, it creates a backup of your device on the Windows machine running UEFID. One way to think about Cellibrite's product is that if someone is physically holding your unlocked device in the hands, they could open whatever apps they would like and take screenshots of everything to save it and go over later. That's them taking a shot, saying this is not a sophisticated, smart product. It's just like, taking screenshots. And it is true that you have to unlock the device, right? So if your, iPhone or Android device is locked when the cops get it, in most cases, they can't compel you to unlock it. However, if you have something like, something that unlocks with facial recognition, they can't just walk up and point it at you. But it does more than what they're saying. It does take all the data off of your phone. It categorizes it, makes it searchable, makes it a lot easier to look, what websites you've been going to, what messages you sent, that kind of thing. Then he describes the package falling off a truck. The reason he's saying that is he can't tell you he legally bought Cellibrite, because if you buy these kits, you have to sign a contract saying, okay, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to use it for these purposes. I won't reverse engineer anything, I won't try to hack it, I won't see how it works, which is exactly what they did here. And you see it comes with a bunch of different connectors to connect the device to your computer. He explains the software, and he starts talking about, the primary task of Cellibrite software is to parse untrusted data. So we have this concept of trusted and untrusted data in cybersecurity. If I have two web applications, right, and they're both created by me and they're talking to each other, that's trusted data. I'm sending it from this end, I'm sending it from this end. Untrusted data is if I have a web application and you're the user out here and you're sending data in, I don't trust what you send me. I have to verify it, make sure it's the right size, make sure it's the right format, make sure that it's not doing anything untold. They're saying this is kind of the primary purpose of Cellibrite software, right? To look at this untested data, and they are not treating it as untested. And they go in here to talk about the vulnerabilities they found which are based upon old libraries that are being used, and they're basically saying that a lot of their code is not doing data integrity checks. It's not making sure that the data it's reading is safe. And this is the key sentence here, including especially formatted but otherwise inaccurate file in an app on a device that is then scanned by Cellibrite. It's possible to execute code that modifies not just a report, but all previous and future generated Cellibrite reports. Inserting or removing text, email, photos, context files, etc. That is, he's saying, hey, we've done this. He's saying, hey, we can modify this report and all other ones, which means Cellibrite reports are now no longer useful. They're no longer trusted. So I can insert the child porn links onto somebody's device, so that way, therefore, you can't trust legally, you can't trust it in a court of law. That's what they're saying there. And then they give an example of running, like their proof that they can do this. Then they kind of segue, and they talk about these Apple support 64 MSI ones these are designed by Apple, and they've been extracted from the iTunes installer, and the Cellibrite software is using those to pretend to be iTunes in order to copy data off of your Apple device. That's a no-no, right? They're saying that they caught Cellibrite violating copyright laws, and Apple has legal recourse to sue them over this. And there's, that's the kind of thing Apple really would be interested in suing them over, because Apple does not they want to be known as having secure devices. Then they have their completely unrelated news. Upcoming versions of Signal will be periodically fetching files to place in app storage. These files are never used for anything inside of Signal and never interact with the Signal software data, but they look nice and aesthetics are important. Files will only be returned for accounts that have been active installs for some time already, only probabilistically low in percentages based on the phone number sharding. We have a few different versions of files that we think are aesthetically pleasing, and we'll iterate through those slowly over time. There is no other significance to those files. That's the shot across the bow to Cellibrite. They're saying, hey, you know how we said that certain data format, certain properly formatted data will cause these errors, crashes, and change the files on Cellibrite? We're going to do that. We're going to put this into the Signal app. And your only choice is to say, hey, we don't scan Signal, because if you do scan Signal, you might be pulling these files, which then could potentially ruin all of your reports. And they're saying that they're going to, when they talk about sharding in different versions, they're saying we have lots of different versions, so you can't just, grab the first version of Signal that you find, test it, find the bad code, and remove that. It will be in different places in different times. And we are going to, we're going to own your stuff. Very interesting for a couple of reasons. One, it's kind of a bit of a cybersecurity arms race, which is always fun. Two, he's directly threatening another company, right? We're going to hack you. If you get into our stuff, we will hack you. Now, he's saying it in a way such as to remove accountability. I don't know how that would hold up in a court of law, or maybe he's just, doing this to try and encourage confidence in Signal, and he doesn't think it'll ever come to that. But this is a really interesting case. And this is the second recent case of good, bad, whatever, guys hacking other entities out there. Also recently, the FBI has been using the Hafnium backdoor to hack into Exchange servers and then patch that backdoor, right? So it seems like people are getting more comfortable using cybersecurity aggressive techniques against other aggressive techniques. And that's a shift. That's a big shift. So I just want to kind of explain this. I'm going to post a link, obviously. I want you to read this. But this is a big shift, a big change in how we're doing cybersecurity. It's not on your honor anymore. And I just thought this was a really interesting blog post from the CEO of Signal. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up.